My name is Maya, and I am a 30-year-old woman who always took great pride in my waist length. Thick black hair. For the past year, I had been visiting a local stylist named Clara who owned a small boutique salon in our quiet town. She was in her late 40s and seemed perfectly normal at first, although she was always a bit too complimentary about the texture of my hair. I went in last Saturday for a dramatic change, deciding to cut it all into a chic bob for the summer. After she finished the cut, Clara took photos of the hair on the floor for her social media, which seemed standard enough. She swept the hair into a dustpan and disappeared into the back of the shop for a surprisingly long time. While she was out for a smoke break, I stepped into the back to use the restroom. As I walked past a small utility table, I froze in terror. There was a clear plastic bin with my name labeled on it, and inside was not just today's hair, but piles of hair from my previous 5 appointments mixed with strange herbs, sand, and dried flowers. Right next to it was a printer that had just finished spit out a high-quality photo of me from today. It looked like a ritualistic shrine. I felt my skin crawl as I realized she hadn't been throwing away my hair for months. She had been collecting my biological material like a predator. I quickly took a photo of the bin with my phone and rushed back to the chair, trying to hide my trembling hands. When Clara came back in, she looked at me with a gaze that felt like she was looking through my soul. I paid as fast as I could and fled that building, knowing I could never step foot there again. The moment I got home, I showed the photo to my husband, Mark, and he literally turned pale. We sat in silence for a long time, trying to process why a professional stylist would keep a box of a client's hair like a trophy. I decided to send her a firm text message stating that I had seen the box and that I would not be returning, and requested she discard my hair immediately. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was dead wrong. Within an hour, my phone started blowing up with a barrage of unhinged messages from Clara. She didn't deny it. She actually claimed that because I paid her for the service, the discarded hair was now her legal property. Her texts were terrifying, saying things like, "I have your essence now, and I can do what I want with it." She even tried to extort me, claiming I owed her a $350 client separation fee for breaking my unwritten contract with her. When I didn't respond, she called me 14 times in a single afternoon. Her voicemails were a mix of sobbing and screaming. In one message, she whispered that she found she liked watching my hair burn more than she liked keeping it. That was the moment I realized I wasn't dealing with a weirdo. I was dealing with a dangerous psychopath who was obsessed with me. Mark insisted we go to the police, and even though I was terrified of escalating the situation, I knew I had no choice because her behavior was rapidly spiraling out of control. Monday morning, I walked into the local police station and showed them the evidence. The officer was visibly disturbed by the voicemail about burning my hair. While I was at the station, Clara sent an official business email with an invoice for the separation fee, but the subject line was just a string of insults. She was documenting her own harassment on a business account, which made the police report even stronger. The officer advised me to hire a lawyer and change my number, but I decided to keep the number for a few more days to gather more evidence. It was a mistake because the next morning, I got a call from my credit card company's fraud department. Someone had called them pretending to be me, using the last 4 digits of my card from the salon receipt to try and cancel my account. They couldn't provide my birth date or address, so they failed, but the intent was clear. She wanted to ruin my life in any way possible. I felt like I was being hunted in my own town. I moved all my digital accounts to a new phone number and installed a high-tech security system around my house. I felt like a prisoner in my own home, jumping at every shadow and every sound outside. I reached out to a lawyer who specialized in harassment, and he told me we needed to file for a restraining order immediately before she tried something physical. The legal process was a nightmare of its own. Clara didn't just back down, she actually showed up to the court hearing with fabricated evidence. She had fake screenshots of texts from my number threatening to burn down her salon and calling her horrific names. She was trying to frame me as the harasser. I was terrified until my lawyer presented the certified readout from the police officer who had been holding my old phone during the time those texts were supposedly sent. The officer testified that no outgoing messages had been sent from that device. Clara's face twisted into a mask of pure rage as the judge realized she was lying. The judge granted me a 1-year protection order and ordered Clara to pay all my legal fees. For a few days, I felt a sense of relief, thinking that the law would finally stop her. But in a small town, a piece of paper doesn't always provide the protection you think it does. Clara's salon license was suspended after my report to the state board, and that loss of livelihood made her even more desperate and vengeful. She blamed me for everything that went wrong in her life, and she decided that if she couldn't have her salon, I couldn't have my peace. The harassment shifted from digital to physical, and it became a war of nerves that I wasn't sure I could win. A week after the court date, I went grocery shopping, and when I came back to my car, there was a note tucked under the windshield wiper that read, "You'll get what's coming to you." My heart stopped. She knew which car I drove. A few nights later at 3, a car drove past our house and threw eggs at our front door while honking the horn repeatedly. Our security cameras caught the car, but it wasn't registered to Clara. I called the police again, but they said, without proof of who was driving, they couldn't do much. Then while Mark and I were out for dinner, someone slashed my tires in the restaurant parking lot. The restaurant had no cameras in that area. It was death by 1,000 cuts. She was systematically terrorizing me, making sure I knew she was always watching. I started losing sleep and my health began to decline from the constant stress. I realized she had hired some local hoodlums to do her dirty work so her hands stayed clean in the eyes of the law. I felt like I was losing my mind. My quiet life had become a horror movie, and the person I once trusted to style my hair was now the monster under my bed. I told Mark we couldn't live like this anymore. We needed a plan to catch her in the act, or we needed to leave everything behind. The breaking point came when the police finally caught the people throwing eggs and slashing tires. They were 2 teenagers who admitted Clara had paid them $20 for each prank, claiming I was a customer who had cheated her. They were cited for vandalism and trespassed from our property, but Clara just laughed it off. She then filed a $200,000 defamation lawsuit against me, claiming my report to the licensing board had ruined her reputation and cost her a yearly salary. The audacity of her suing me for the consequences of her own actions was staggering. My lawyer told me we could countersue, but the legal fees would keep us tied to her for years. I looked around our beautiful home, the house we had poured our hearts into, and I realized that Clara didn't want my money. She wanted my attention and my misery. As long as she knew where I lived, she would never stop. She was a black hole that would eventually suck everything I loved into her darkness. I saw her driving past our house one evening, stopping at the end of the driveway just to stare at our windows with a blank expression. That was the final straw. I realized that as long as I stayed in that town, I was giving her power over me. I decided right then that my peace was worth more than any house or any neighborhood. We made the hardest decision of our lives. We didn't tell anyone, not even our neighbors. We put our house on the pocket listing, market, and sold it within 2 weeks to a cash buyer. We traded in both of our cars for different models and colors so she couldn't track us by sight. We packed our lives into a moving truck in the middle of the night like we were fugitives. I felt a deep sense of anger that a woman who cut my hair for 9 months had forced me to abandon my community and my home. But as we drove across the state line, I felt a weight lift off my chest that I hadn't realized I was carrying. We moved to a city where we knew no one and where Clara could never find us. I changed my legal name and all my private accounts and set up a P.O. box for all mail. For the first time in a year, I didn't check the security cameras every 10 minutes. I didn't jump when the phone rang. I was finally breathing again. The obsession Clara had with my hair, and my life was now a fading nightmare in the rearview mirror. I realized that some people are just broken in a way that can't be fixed, and the only way to win against a narcissist is to stop playing their game entirely. It has been 5 months since we moved, and life is exponentially more peaceful. I found a new stylist who is professional and quiet, and I make sure to sweep up my own hair before I leave every single time. I still have a small scar of anxiety, but it's healing. I heard through an old friend that Clara eventually lost her salon building because she couldn't pay the mortgage without her license. She tried to sue the state board, but the case was dismissed. She is now a ghost in a town that has mostly forgotten her. I am standing in my new garden looking at the sunset, and for the first time, I feel truly safe. I am no longer Maya, the victim of a hair shrine ritual. I am Maya, the survivor who chose her freedom over her pride. My story is a warning to everyone to trust your gut the moment something feels off. Boundaries aren't just about being polite, they are about survival. I lost a house, but I gained my life back, and that is a trade I would make every single time. The end of that year of hell was the beginning of a life where I am finally the architect of my own safety. Clara can keep the ashes of the hair she burned, but she will never have another second of my time or my fear. I am finally free.